you've got to know your value proposition, but I mean, just like you're saying, you got to have your elevator pitch and believe it. And I believe that our marketing is the best out there.
This is Stay Paid, the marketing podcast that gives listeners a competitive edge to stay motivated, find inspiration, and discover proven real-world tactics from some of the best marketers across the nation.
Welcome to another episode of Stay Paid. I'm Joshua Stike along with Luke Acree. And before we bring on our guest today, we'd love it if you take a minute to subscribe to Stay Paid on Apple Podcast or on Spotify. If you're not already subscribed, while you're there, drop us a review. We will read it here on the show. Our guest today is Ryan Zook. Having been recognized as REALTOR Magazine's 30 Under 30, Ryan was cast on HGTV's House Hunters and has been featured in REALTOR Magazine, Nova Real Producers Magazine, and is one of Virginia's 100 most influential real estate agents. Since then, he's gone on to found the award-winning Dwellus brand and serves as their CEO. Ryan, welcome to Stay Paid. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm pumped. Let's go.
Yeah, Ryan, it's awesome to have you. We had Janet, your partner in crime there at the Dwellus Group on the show. I met you guys at the conference that you put on that I was fortunate enough to speak at. And I was just so impressed with both of you, not only how you throw that conference, but just following you, looking at your team, looking at what you've done in the real estate industry that I wanted to pick your brain. Have to ask you though, right out of the gate, you were on House Hunters, you're on HGTV, or like, is it real? Yeah. Is it real? Is it fake? Is it like, were you like, how does it feel to be on TV?
I mean, I'm going to ruin it for some of the viewers, but I'll say this. We were under contract on the house before we shot the show.
I've heard that before, yeah.
Everybody's heard that. I mean, it's not a myth anymore.
Yeah.
What's interesting, though, is when I shot it, I learned about moire, and moire is where you wear certain types of clothes, it causes like a camera blur.
Yeah,
interesting.
And so I had to go, I brought my wardrobe and I said, here are the shirts I'm going to wear. And I legit only had one solid blue shirt. and so I had to send my assistant at the time to J. Crew or Banana Republic. And I said, hey, go buy every shirt that they have. And so I literally had a solid white shirt, a solid blue shirt, because the checkered pattern shirts that everybody wears nowadays with the technology had this moire thing. But yeah, we had a great time.
That's crazy. Well, you just broke my mom's heart because she loves HGTV and she's just finding out that it's all fake. It's all it's such a showbiz. But guys, Stay Paid podcast, it's real.
This is real.
Yeah, we have not prepped besides 5 minutes right before coming on the show. This is raw. I want to pick your brain, Ryan. You've built a successful team, and I think there's two avenues I'd love to hear from you. One is, like, I think you have around 14, 15 agents on your specific team doing real estate, but then you have this huge downline now within Real. As a brokerage standpoint, and recruiting and attracting agents to your brokerage, to your team is a huge thing in real estate right now. Whether you're with EXP, Real, KW, it doesn't matter. I'd love to get your take there. Before we jump there, what was your keys to success, if you could summarize in just a couple bullet points, why you think Dwellus team has grown to be number 5 in Virginia, and you've been successful where 87% of people fail?
Yeah, so my belief is whether you're a solo agent or a team, you have to build a brand that people want to be a part of and want to use. And so for us, years ago, we took the technology approach of trying to separate ourselves. I mean, we were the first people to be using drones and doing 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional floor plans, building websites for every client. And so all of that package, we've grown and innovated throughout the years. Technology and people and vendors have caught up. But at the end of the day, I mean, we can market a home with 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional floor plans, virtual walkthroughs, drones, websites, SEO, all of that stuff, all within 24 hours because we have an in-house marketing department. And so once you create the brand, and that's our brand and our value proposition, it really is just about spreading the word. And social media has given us a platform to be able to do it pretty quickly, where, I mean, you talk about this all the time, where, I mean, in 15 seconds, you get to share with all of your followers something about what you do as a brand. Mm-hmm. And so part of it is that. And then it's interesting because we just yesterday did something with the DC Dream Center, which is part of our Giving Back Dwellus Gives branch. And so I'm also a believer that you have to you have to not just go out there and do great business. You have to be a great person. You have to give back to the community, and all of that packaged up helps your brand. And so, and we've got a pretty cool edgy brand. Dwellus is, everybody asks us what Dwellus is. It's a made up word. It's a combination of dwell us and dwell US, or whatever you want to call it. And honestly, what's funny is, when I get a telemarketer call and they're like, "Can I speak to the owner of D. Wellis?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, he's not there right now."
I figured it was one of your last names or something, like on one of the founders or something like that. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's just a made up word. Like, I mean, Google and all these other things. So that's the approach that we took. Do you do any paid advertising, by the way, when you're talking about promoting on social? Is it paid or is it totally organic when you're posting on social?
All of our stuff is organic. Occasionally we'll have a really great reel that talks about something with a value proposition, or, I mean, a ultra luxury property where I'll drop $20 on it. But all of our advertising is all organic.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And so, and we don't pay for leads. We're not in the Zillow game or the radio advertising game. That's just not our niche. But through all of that, I mean, obviously we've been attracting buyers and sellers. And if you do a great job, I mean, I think the best way to recruit, I know we're going to talk about that a little bit, is to have an awesome business. I mean, kick ass, be cool at what you do, sell awesome properties, be present, and people notice. I mean, obviously buyers and sellers notice, but agents do too. So
yeah, I would agree. It's interesting that kind of like golden nugget for people, as I'm hearing you, is that you guys got really good with your value prop that you were delivering to your clients. You really honed in on client experience, if I was summarizing it, through doing the drones, doing the whole system, the 24 hours thing, which gave you the confidence to go promote. And I think that is a really good point for all new agents or teams that are trying to scale is, do you know your value prop that you're trying to promote? Because if you promote without knowing the value prop, well, you do it from a place of like instability. Like you're not confident in what you're saying. Your messages are all mixed. You guys knew, hey, we service our clients the very best. We're able to bring them the latest, greatest technology, however you frame it up. But you knew your value prop, and then you took that to your sphere and to your community with obviously then your personality involved.
Yeah, you've got to know your value proposition. But, I mean, just like you're saying, you've got to have your elevator pitch and believe it. And I believe that our marketing is the best out there. I mean, we do it all, and we can do it all very fast. It's all in-house. I mean, I didn't have a marketing degree or a branding background, but I mean, I'm a photographer. And so I have the eye for, here's what the finished product should look like. And our belief is that the finished product is better than most out there. And so, and believing it and being able to elevator pitch it or script it, that's helps you when you're promoting it or sharing it out there with the world. So, and our value proposition, I mean, I tell brand new agents, I mean, if people come up against us as a team, I mean, it's hard to beat a team that's number 5 in Virginia. It's hard to beat a team that can do everything that we do within 24 hours. But there are people that can beat a team like this if they have a different value proposition. Like, for example, if somebody says, hey, I'm brand new to the industry, but I will answer your phone call 24 hours a day. And if you call me and I don't respond, I'll give you $100 back to towards your commission. I'm not going to do
That's
that.
Not bad,
to sleep. I want to go to sleep. But at the end of the day, if somebody had a poor customer experience with communication, that may be their driver versus a big marketing.
That's a great point. Yeah.
And so, so having a value proposition, knowing the script, and then sharing it, that's how you build the brand.
How do you keep your agents, like your 14, 15 agents, whatever it is? How do you keep them driven, motivated? How do you think about hiring and attraction of talent?
Yeah, this is an art and a science. I mean, this is the art of keeping talented people is tough because there are so many brokerages, there are so many teams. Everybody's looking for something different. What I have found for our team is agents who plug in and recognize that we're kind of like a Amazon process for helping them grow their business. Where stuff is streamlined, it's not very expensive to be on our team, and they get to plug and play and then go lead generate. That is really the value of Dwellus versus we're not a lead heavy team. Some teams are like, hey, we've got Boomtown leads coming in. We'll give you 100 leads every week. You get to sift through them and go fight the 100 leads and hopefully convert one. That's not our team model. Our team model is more of you get to plug in and here's a well-oiled machine. So you get a listing, you click a button on our site, back end of our site, and it fills out a fill-in menu. And then once you fill out the fill-in menu, our teams go. Our administrative team goes, our marketing team goes, and then you literally show up for media day if you want to, and the house is ready. And so it's kind of like that's the streamlined piece. So the kind of answering your question, my belief is that helping agents understand that this is a process that you don't have to go recreate on your own.
Yeah, you're providing the systems.
We provide the systems, the marketing. It's just kind of like set it and forget it.
Yeah,
that is the value for the agents that stay on our team.
It's so interesting. It's like once you find what works, don't vary from it. So your same value prop to your client, the actual consumer, to sell or buy or help them buy a home, is the same you're using for the agent. Like it's system oriented.
Yep.
So it's awesome. I love that because it shows that, hey, you found your niche, you know what works. You applied it to the retention game, to the attraction of talent game. Here's just a nuanced question for you that I see people struggle with. Do you make your agents show up to your team meetings, or do you allow some to show up, some not to?
So this is also there are some people want check-ins. Like, I know teams that do morning huddles. That's not us. I don't have the time, the energy. That's just not our brand. That's not who Dwellus is. So we go to once a month is a mandatory meeting. You have to show up, get the information. And then we have 2 to 3 other kind of plugins. Part of this is also with this real community that we're growing. Like we have a Dwellus team meeting, then we have a real team meeting.
Okay.
And then we have kind of a Dwellus systems meeting where if you want to learn a CRM or learn how we're doing social or whatever it may be, there's another meeting. So we've got probably 3 to 4 meetings a month that people can plug into. But yes, we have a mandatory meeting, and then we script it with meeting minutes, an agenda, all of that stuff. So when people leave, they have here's what you need to know to be able to operate. And the meetings are intended to be fun, but some of it is logistics. Like, hey, we're going to host this client event and we need you to plug in. And hey, we've got this new newsletter that's going out. Be sure to send it to your database. Stuff like that.
What causes you to cut somebody from your team?
So it's funny because a lot of teams, and this is very interesting. I've been in this place where a lot of teams struggle to cut because they need the agent. They need the income. They need them to be a part of their team. What's interesting about the model that we're in with Real is some people we are, for lack of a better word, coaching them into Real to say, hey, if you're not finding the value in all of this, go be over here in Real. And so we still get to be in community with them, but they're not necessarily a part of Dwellus per se. But for us, if they're just not a good culture fit, we can have an agent on our team that is not producing, but if you're showing up and you're trying and you're a good culture fit and you're a contributor, that's okay for us. There are some extra needy people, or there are some people that just, we had this one person join our team and he didn't realize you didn't get paid at the settlement table. And so he came to us and started yelling at our staff that, hey, I closed on the deal. Where's my money? And then he wrote a pretty, it wasn't a nasty, but I call it a nasty gram to our staff saying, hey, where's my money? So I called him in and I said, hey, this is not going to be a good fit. Like, you don't get to write something like this. And, oh, by the way, you have no idea what you're talking about. We don't even have the money to pay you yet. So anyways.
Desperation mode. That's what happens. It's like people get in desperation mode when they need the money and they act out.
But it is a really refreshing place. And for anybody listening to this, it's a really refreshing place to be able to say to an agent, we don't need you to be on this team anymore. And so having that space to be able to say, we want you, but we don't need you. That is when I feel like you've made it as a team, or a team leader. And at the end of the day, what I'll say, what operates and runs a good team is the talent of the staff that is behind you. And that is sometimes pretty hard to find. Somebody that will stay in the job, that is a good fit for the job. Just hiring somebody because you like them, that's the wrong way to go about it. Finding somebody that fits that role, that is really what takes you from a team to a well-oiled machine.
Agree, man.
So
it's interesting. It's like I'm learning over time of just running our Reminder Media company, and we hire a ton of salespeople. It's a different business, right? We sell marketing, but I'm learning it as I talk to more people in different sales industries. One of my struggles has been I always want people to be their best version of themselves, and I always believe people can do more. And in face value, that's really good. Like, I believe in that. I'm sure you probably do too. You want to be the best version of yourself. You want to bring the best out of people. But what I'm realizing is, Luke, not everybody wants to be what you want to be. And I mean that down to just the little reality of, like, some people are happy making $80,000 a year. Like it's wild, right? In the sense of, like, this salesperson, to me, I go, how can, like, you can be so much more. Like, there's so much opportunity here.
Yes,
you got it all. And I have spent so much emotional energy and pushing and processes to try to get that out of that person. And I don't know if you agree with this. That's why I'm saying it, to see your point. It's like, I'm learning now, it's like, as long as that person's profitable, as long as they're a good culture fit, like you're saying, then that's okay. Let them do their thing. Don't try to push them to be something they don't really want to be, because now you just create tension that nobody needs. Go find the person who wants to be that and invest in them. What do you think of that? Have you experienced that?
I mean, you can invest in, you can invest in all of them, but you will find the people that will run at your speed. And so if you're an entrepreneur, if you want to grow something big, you'll eventually find those people. And I learned this at my old brokerage. Like, you're just constantly, for lack of a better word, interviewing for that raw, brand new talent. They call it emerging talent, but you're constantly looking for that emerging talent to develop. And you can also still love on the people that are okay with the 80,000 selling 10 houses a year, 7 houses a year. And that's okay.
Yep.
What I think is interesting about this industry, and especially right now with, all the sales dialing back so much, is helping the people who are dual career, like the people that need the income but want to be in real estate. And so they have the need. We've got agents on our team that are in healthcare or business development for different non-real estate companies. So they're considered a part-time agent, but they want to leave that type of job to be a full-time agent. That's a really hard helping those people who have a full-time job that also want to leave that full-time job. I haven't figured that out yet. If you figure that out, dude, you do a podcast, tell me. I want to figure that out.
I will definitely tell you. I agree. It's like I'm coaching a part-time agent right now. And I told him, I said, look, you're doing all the right things. They're getting discouraged. I said, you're doing all the right things. The only thing you have to realize is you've decided you want to extend the runway of your launch, of your plane. Meaning you could do it, you can get off the ground and get closes faster, get more closes, but you have to put in more activity. So it's not that what you're doing today is wrong. It's just very minimal because it's part-time.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a lot longer for your plane to get off the ground, and it's going to be a lot slower for you to get, deals. And it's like really hard for me though, because I'm just like, you're not getting the amount of deals you want because you're not working. Like you're only doing, a few posts or only a few calls or only a few, relationship contacts. It's like, it's interesting. So
and now you've got to do, if you worked a 40-hour work week to earn X, you've got to work a 60-hour work week to still earn the same X.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, it's
so crazy. That is a really hard thing for people when, going from 40 to 60 hours is a lot of work. And so you've got to carve out that time or be okay with making less money. Or you've got to figure out something to work smarter. And at the end of the day, if you spend your time lead generating, the rest of the stuff will come. And it really is that simple. If you don't like door knocking, don't door knock. If you like calling, then just double the amount of calls that you do.
So well said.
But how are you coaching your agents to prospect? Like what types of strategies are you looking at and coaching, a new agent to start for lead gen?
Yeah. So I tell people, go start with your database and you have to dive. You not only got to have the coffee, but you've also got to be very particular about what that client likes. So, for example, if you have a client that likes fishing, instead of going and grabbing coffee, go fishing with them.
Yeah.
And if you have somebody that likes baseball, instead of dropping by pop-by gifts of mugs, drop by a pop-by gift with a baseball mug for that particular person. So you have to be super hyper focused on what that particular client wants. And so, we do this thing for brand new agents that, this isn't a real estate thing, but they call it 20 cups of coffee in 20 days. And I tell people, you've got to go have the coffee. You've got to ask for the business. There are certain scripts around that, but I say some people will have their 20 cups of coffee in 40 days and some people will have their 20 cups of coffee in 10 days. I said, if I'm getting into this industry, I'm going to go have 20 cups of coffee in 5 days. Like that's the level that I'm going to play at. And it's okay if you want to have 20 cups of coffee in 20 days, but that's the gist of it. It is really going and telling your database, hey, I'm in real estate. I'd really love your support. I know you know 5 realtors out there. I would just love the opportunity to interview. And oh, by the way, here's some cool stuff that we do. And so, for example, we have a page on our website called dwellus.com/Matterport. You guys know what Matterport is, the virtual walkthrough, but some consumers don't know what it is. So when you're at the coffee, this brand new agent say, hey, our team does drones and Matterport. And they're like, what's Matterport? They may already know what it is, but they're like, what's Matterport? You pull up dwellus.com/Matterport, and then you can virtually walk through a house. And they're like, oh, yeah, I've seen this. And then you tell them, yeah, our team does this for every single house that we sell. And oh, by the way, we build a web page. And so we've taken a brand new agent and given them automatic credibility during that coffee. And all they're asking for is just an opportunity to interview. And so it's just a good start. And then, we've kind of got a plan of attack, but that's the gist of how we encourage people to get started.
Yeah.
Then there's open houses, door knocking, all that stuff. So.
Do you offer marketing, like any sort of marketing systems for them also, or like print marketing for your touch points for your database or digital marketing?
Yeah. We've got our CRM that we use. Through Real, we get Chime at a major discount. I think it's normally $500 for the consumer. We at Real get it for $40, and our team members actually get it for $20 a month. But that CRM, we create touch points that they can digitally send to via email, but then we also create social media assets for them to be able to share.
That's awesome.
And so we also, as a team, encourage our agents to promote the other agents' listings or deals. We just say, hey, just tag the agent whose listing it is, but promote it. And so it's a win for the seller. It's a win for the agent who's listing the property. And it's a win for the brand new agent who doesn't even have a listing yet to be present. So
That's so good. You've done really, really well at recruiting a downline. So not just you have your team, right? But I'm talking about like kind of a downline, whether you're EXP, KW, you're with Real. Real is just like on fire right now. It feels like. I feel like everywhere I turn, I'm seeing it all over the place. But can you walk us through, like, I think you said, what, in 11 months since you joined Real, you're already 300 and something, right? And you're,
I think 370, 370 as of today.
Freaking ridiculous.
Which honestly is crazy. And it really is. So we hate the word downline at Real.
Oh, sorry about that.
It is the EXP downline. I mean, it is the word that people use.
Yeah.
But at Real, it is, we just call it our community.
Yeah.
And what's cool about this community of Real is, whether you're a part of my downline or my organization, we all play nice in the sandbox together, because at the end of the day, we want the company to go from 11,000 to 100,000 agents,
right?
Because we're all earning extra stock. We're all earning, obviously, extra revenue, taking more market share, so on and so forth.
How are you attracting, though, that level of agents? Because I'm assuming, right, to get 300 and plus, you have to be hitting 1,000, 2,000. I don't know, like what those numbers would be, unless your closing rate is like insane.
Yeah. So here's the model kind of speaks for itself, in my opinion. It is one of the cheaper models. I mean, it is the fastest growing brokerage in the US right now. And I don't see it stopping anytime soon, which is awesome. But it's a cheap model to plug into. So it's cheaper than most of the other traditional brokerages. It's cheaper than EXP. It's cheaper than to sell real estate. So that's number one. Number two, the stock matching bonuses and the revenue share are both the best in the industry. I mean, of any place that I've ever seen, they're the best that I've seen in terms of matching bonuses.
So is that your tactic?
Share.
Like, you're taking that value prop and blasting it out as much as you can? Or like, how are you thinking about getting in front of agents and stuff?
Yeah. So a lot of what I do is just creating curiosity.
Okay.
And so, and a lot of this is through branding, Instagram marketing, stuff like that, where, I mean, when somebody joins Real Broker, you promote it. And as you see people joining week after week after week,
creates this illusion
people know
of
these other
exclusive.
People are curious about it. And so that's number one. Number two, it really is. I mean, a lot of people are raising their hand. Like, they're saying, hey, I want to know about Real Broker. I mean, obviously, if anybody's watching this and is curious, I mean, give me a shout. But they're raising their hand and saying, hey, I'm curious about what Real Broker is. I saw five people I know join in the last 2 months. But there are some intentional conversations that you have with key players in your marketplaces. And I call it the real opportunity. You're literally just sharing an opportunity with them. And so, I mean, again, going back to the whole, I see the value. I believe the value. I know the script. I know the script of the value, similar to clients. Now it's for agents, and it's sharing this opportunity. And at the end of the day, I say, I'm not recruiting you. Like, stay at the compasses, at the different brokerages, if you're happy. But if you're ever not happy, I would love to be your first call. And here's what I love about this.
Yeah, that tactic, the takeaway sale. I love that. It's the takeaway. It's like you give somebody a puppy, and you're like, but hey, if you don't want the puppy, bring it back. Nobody brings a puppy back. It's a puppy.
I'm going to start using that. But what's so crazy about this is it's interesting because there's an agent in our market who has a big team. They've actually got a bigger team than we do, bigger team than Dwellus. They were with a kind of a boutique brokerage in our area, flat fee model. So they went to a model that was slightly more expensive. Real was more expensive than their model.
Gotcha.
And at the end of the day, fast forward, I mean, she wrote a message to Janet and myself, and she said, hey, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for this opportunity. We finally get it now. I want to thank you for introducing this to us. I want to thank you for ultimately changing our life. That's crazy to hear and thing to say, but I will say this model has changed my life in 11 months.
Yeah, you got to get that on a video testimonial, man. Blast it on social, blast it on email, market the crap out of it. No.
I've been selling real estate for 20 years. And at the end of the day, we're still selling real estate. I mean, we are still one of the top 5 teams, large teams in the state of Virginia. That's not going away. But now we're plugged into this other model machine that is creating a passive income stream, not just for us as team leaders, but for our agents. I mean, I've got agents on my team that have $20,000 of stock, of which, I mean, a third or a quarter of it was given to them for free. And when you have an agent who has never been a part of this, that has $20,000 of stock, that becomes a game changer.
Yeah.
And then I've
it's like, it's so interesting. It's like when I think about like just hearing your story here, and I think takeaway for the audience is, you know, there's a very common theme that I'm hearing from you. You hone in very quickly on the value prop that you know matters, is important, right? So for real, it's like, hey man, like the amount of opportunity you can gain through income because it's more cost effective as a brokerage. You get the stock, you've honed in on that. And then it's like you quickly then move, okay, this is my value prop, this is my foundation, this is what, and you take that to market and you just go ham on taking that to market. And I think it sounds basic when you say it out loud, but I think people don't do that. I think they are not clear on why they're doing what they're doing. Because like I would say, because we have obviously every different brokerage that listens to this podcast, it's like, what is your value prop? And how are you taking that to market and just promote? And if you don't promote yourself, because you can tell your conviction in your voice, which I love. I love how like you believe. It's like, it's amazing. If you don't promote yourself, why would anybody else promote you? Why would anybody else believe in you, right? You got to believe in yourself for others to believe in you. And it's like that to me is such a golden nugget and takeaway of like in your brain right now, you guys should be challenging yourself going, man, do I know my value prop with simplicity, with clarity? And am I willing to get out there and present that? And look, like what you said, some agents are going to be happy with where they're at.
Yeah.
Some are not. And what you want to do is you want to have the certainty, because the person with the most certainty wins. So you want to be so certain in your model, so certain in what your value prop is. So when the seed of doubt comes into the mind of the other person, right? The prospect, the agent, guess who they think of? They think of the person who had certainty. Yeah. They think of the person who believed in what they were doing more than that person. And I heard it said to me one time, it's like, Luke, if I believe that I'm going to get on Stay Paid and be interviewed by you more than you believe you don't want me to be on Stay Paid, I will get on Stay Paid 100% of the time. And I'm like, that is so freaking true. It's the person with the most certainty, man. They win. I mean, I love it. It's awesome.
I love it.
Ryan, thanks so much for joining us today, walking us through, obviously, your career and your journey here. Before we close out, please let people know how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, I mean, Dwellus is dwellus.com.
Dwellus, guys. No.
Dwellus, exactly. Yeah, I mean, yes. Find me at Ryan Zook on Instagram and send me a friend request on Facebook, all of that stuff. I'll follow you back. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen. And I appreciate you two for having me on the show. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Ryan. And thank you all for listening. You can head over to staypaidpodcast.com to get the show notes, the video, and then those links. We're going to put all those links that Ryan mentioned, how you can get in touch with him, learn more about Dwellus over at staypaidpodcast.com. If you enjoyed this episode and want to show your support, head on over to Apple Podcasts, drop us a 5-star review. And the best way to show your support is simply share this episode with a friend. If you want to get hold of me or Luke, you can email us at podcast@remindermedia.com. And of course, you can follow us on social media as well. We are at Stay Paid Podcast. For this episode of Stay Paid, I'm Joshua Stike.
And I'm Luke Acree. And guys, this has been an awesome episode that I hope gets you motivated to move, and especially on your value prop. Like when I think of the action item that I want you to take away from this, like Ryan, incredible. You and Janet are doing incredible things. Love you guys. Love following along. And I've just met them too. Like I have only known them for a couple months, but just watching, kind of what they're doing and getting to know them a little bit. But what I want you, the audience, to take away from is you should be hearing this guy speak and go, okay, how do I get this crystal clear on what my value prop is to the market? And you need to take time to sit down and literally write it out. Do you know what your value prop is? Do you know what you present versus the team next to you versus the agent next to you? Why would someone work with you and not the competition? And you need to get certain on that. And remember, the difference between top producers and mediocre producers in every single business is top producers take action. Take action on that today.